What is this? 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 Good evening, YouTube. Oh. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. I was like debating if I should come on because it's kind of late, but kind of glad I made the decision to do so. Either way, hoping everybody's having a good evening, a good day, a good night. Lord, I know we are not in the best of circumstances all the time. I know it's not always rainbows and sunshine. Forgive me, guys. My makeup does not look good in this light, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I look at some of my videos and I'm like, my goodness, like I just come on here with no regards for how I look some days, because what we are going through is so crazy. Who cares about a fashion show? Do you know what I mean? Give me a second here. Who cares about a fashion show? Who cares about, you know, filters and all? Like, I don't care. I feel like I should, but had I not gone through gang stalking properly myself, maybe I would care a little bit more. But this is like life or death information. This is like very serious stuff. Give me a second here. Give me a second. Yeah. I feel like there are particular things that are very frivolous, very childish, you know, and if you are a person who is also like, if you like, you know, there's petty things that petty people worry about, and this is something like even when I was younger I was very aware of. There are things that certain people worry about, and they feel like these things are important because, or let me frame it this way, because it is important to them, they assume that it's important to you, and it's not. And when you do not have, and this is really important, but when you do not have your priorities right, when you are not focused on the correct things, you start prioritizing nonsense that in the long run is not gonna help you. So what I mean by that, I'll give an example, and this may or may not, like, you know, it's just the first thing that comes to mind. But for example, like, I remember in the heaviest part of being gang stalked, it was really more important to me to make sure I take care of my finances, make sure I take care of my business, make sure I keep everything as settled as possible. And so I wasn't worried about what I looked like, but everybody was talking about what I looked like. So in the very beginning of, excuse me, when this started, when this erupted, I was getting ready to purchase a house. I'd put up so much money for the down payment. This was my dream home. I'd been working 12 years to get here. My business had just escalated to the highest level thus far. Our stores, you know, I got my first mall location in a good mall. And it was about hustling. It was about working. It was about taking care of my responsibilities. And people were talking about like what I look like and my weight and stuff like that. And I'm like, can't be for real right now. Like, I think initially I thought like maybe they're just trolling, like maybe they're just trying to say something to distract me. But then I realized they're really like that. They really think like that. That's really who they are. They really speak like that. They really think like that. They would prioritize their appearance before making good financial decisions and being logical. And I was like, oh my God, this is real. There are really people like that. That was quite shocking to me, to be honest. And then I, over time, started realizing like, oh, these are street people. Okay, so I get that. You know, maybe there is a lack of financial literacy. Maybe there is like broken homes that people come from. Maybe there's a lack of like, you know, maybe there are not too many like college educated people in the family, maybe things like that, in a very real way. And maybe people have to like fend for themselves from a young age and they're not taught properly. And maybe that's what leads people to think in that way, because that is not healthy. It's not logical. So sometimes I up until colliding with that mindset, I would assume that most people would, I don't know, be logical, because that's like the world that I came from. But now I know not everybody is like that. So then I make comments now and say, oh, you know what, I'm not putting my best foot forward. I mean, this is not, there are, I think, channels or topics or times where the point, the purpose is looking a certain way. And then there's other times where, like, this channel is a very serious channel. It is a channel where people are suffering, people need help, they need guidance. And when you really need a good word, hopefully you're not worried about the messenger, what they look like, hopefully. But I recognize that there are people who are like that. It's very strange. This is what it's like dealing with gang stalkers still, where you're still thinking to yourself like, oh my goodness, look at the things that they're talking about. Like, when gang stalkers troll you, they'll talk about things like your weight, they'll talk about things like your lips, they'll talk about things like your hair, they'll talk about, and you're like, oh my goodness, you're under police investigation for organized crime. Are you disconnected from what's going on in your real life, or what's going on? Like, you literally, like, you pull back and you're like, these are, you realize like the growth was stunted somewhere. And so it makes sense that they go out of their way to look for people that are emotionally stunted. they go out of their way to look for people that can be easily manipulated and mentally like wrangled in the wrong direction. And you know, it's kind of, honestly, it's kind of sad to see. And then you have some people mixed in there that you can tell that they are mature and they can see what's going on. And you have to feel really bad for those people in particular. Reason I'm saying it's like, you know, if you have a room like full of fools, the person suffering the most in there is the smartest one. Like the smartest people in that particular group, they're the ones that are suffering the most, because they can see better and they can see the direction that this is going, and they can see that, you know, for me from the outside looking in, I feel like it was always unsustainable. It's just not a sustainable lifestyle. Sustainability is important. Sustainability means how long can we do this for? Sustainability demands that you take a look at how long you can go for. How long can you continue until things, they reach a head, you know? And even if there's no investigation with the way things are going, it's like, how long could you not get paid for before, you know, slam into a wall? It's been quite a while in my personal situation. I don't know about you guys. So, you know, I think their fantasies about taking me to court for defamation or something like that, I don't know if that's a real thing. I got a comment the other day, see you in court, and I'm like, with what money? Is the lawyer pro bono? Are lawyers being paid on promises now? That's not a good use of money either way, I think. What would come from that? You know, I don't know. Because it's still, it's like, to what end does it get someone on the plane, right? Like, does it get someone to agree? That's the point, right? It's like things like that. So I don't know. I don't take it seriously. I would, if I got the paperwork, it's like, it is what it is. I would love to get in a courtroom with these people at some point. You know, I'm the one that needs the justice. So it would be insane to initiate that. But I mean, I take it. But you know, it's a very, gang stalking is a bizarre world. It's a very bizarre, it's a weird place. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I can't believe this is real. Not anymore. Not anymore. Which leads me to my first point. Please cleanse your space. Continue doing your cleanses. Continue doing everything that you're doing. I just want to make you people understand. If you have been being persecuted spiritually for let's call it a year, and you haven't spiritually cleansed for the entire year, you're not gonna expect to do, hopefully you should not expect to do 1 or 2 cleanses and then that will clean you off. You have to kind of look at it like things have been soaking in your bones, and so you need to continue doing your cleanses more and more. And like, don't rush it, because it's going to take time, and over time you're going to feel a dramatic difference. You're going to continue healing. Cleansing is the key to that. You're going to continue healing, and then you're going to get to yourself to the point where you're not going to feel the heaviness. You're not going to feel the fear. You're not going to feel the anxiety. Things are not going to work on you like they are intended to work, or that people intend them to work. You're going to be able to at least navigate this with a clear mind, which is very, very, very obviously important. I've talked about it over and over. Gang stalking only works with the spell work, and that is a fact. Without the spell work, it's just weird, and it doesn't have an effect on you because you don't notice it. In the very beginning, before any of the heavy spell work or any of the bindings or any of the things that have happened, in the very beginning, you didn't notice that you were being gang stalked. It's like you just saw very irritating behavior, very weird behavior, very whatever. The behavior only gets to that point where you start noticing it, you start being hyper aware when there's the spell work. So when there's already the spell work and they're already showing you and you're already being hacked and things are happening, when all of that is happening, then you get to the point where, you know, somebody walking by you very slowly and looking at you and chuckling in that way, that's when it becomes like disturbing. But prior to that, you probably wouldn't look in someone's face as you slowly walk by. You probably wouldn't hyperfixate on things like that. You'd be walking down the street, you'd be looking in your phone, you'd be talking on the phone, you'd be minding your business for the most part. You become hyper aware when a lot of these things are happening around you. Like, I just feel like that without the spell work, it's meaningless. It really is meaningless. You gotta clean your space, and you gotta take it as like, take it very seriously. You have to have a schedule with it. Not just, when I say schedule, I don't just mean like at the same time every day or every week. I really mean like in a routine fashion where it's very frequent. You gotta clean frequently. These are earth demons. Like, people, like, listen, these are earth demons. I feel so, people do not know how vulnerable they are. If you could sense this energy, you would see how persistent it is, how much it's constantly in your space, how much, man, it's like you're being haunted. Well, I can speak for myself. I'm being haunted by an energy that is like alive. It's not just purely a spirit. Like, it's like a human demon. An earth demon is haunting me. It's very ridiculous, and it stinks. And that's the thing that's most disturbing, is like, oh my God. Whoa, it's bad. It's very bad. It's overwhelming, and every time it puts its whole presence in the space, I realize it gets worse and worse every time. So it's like so unbearable right now that I'm just like, this is, as the situation continues to erode, as the life experience in the situation continues to erode, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So, you know, I say all the time, I don't recommend black magic. People need to know better than to gang stalk people and persecute people and do things like that. It's like, listen, at some point, all the things that you wish on other people start happening to you, and then you have to kind of slow down and realize, like, my time is up. You know, maybe your time is up. Like, the goodness in your heart, the way that you live, being a good person, it comes back. It does. It saves you in horrible situations. And I feel like having good karma is no more needed than in tough times in your life. When things are super tough, I feel like that's when you need your good karma the most, for when it can come through to help you. Because I just feel like this is a situation you need a lot of help. You need a lot of help. Spiritual help is what I mean. Spiritual help. I can only continue to repeat the things that I always say. And to be honest with you, I'm very happy. I'm past the point of being frustrated with people not listening. I think I have to just accept it. I've always felt like people just don't listen to me when I say things, and I feel like that's so sad because I don't like just get up and give unsolicited advice every day. If I say something, it's because I really feel the need for someone to like just see how, I wouldn't just say how, like how dire it is, how serious it is. For me to make the decision, for me to tell someone like, hey, you shouldn't do this, or you should do that, or you should watch out for this. For me to make that decision, it's because it's like the consequences are so bad. The consequences are so bad that it is worth it for me to say to somebody, hey, I know you might not believe me. I know you might not want to hear what I have to say, but these are the things that you need to do. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Yeah, you guys need to cleanse your space. People need to take their spiritual journey seriously. You know, anybody who, I see it from a totally different perspective now. The gang stalking experience is something that it's like God almost like, you're not put into it just because God wants to see you suffer. And God can take you out at any time. You're put into it because it's very necessary for you to be trained for something very seriously. And the thing about it is, you know, I'm even at the point where it's like almost like there's some people that the first round they don't learn everything. Maybe they just learn just enough, or they're activated just enough for a particular thing. God pulls them out, and then they have to go back in for a second round. And I know that the tarot readers are in their second round now. The first round they got activated, you know, they served their purpose, they woke people up, and now they're in their second round, and they're gonna have to take the spiritual walk seriously. I think in the second round is where they get to meet their maker, their God, the real God. Because there are people who are really still reading tarot for Jesus, and yeah, that can't be. Come on now. Tarot is not Christianity. So it's like, but I understand why people are still like in that frame of mind. But I want to say the second round of gang stalking, I mean, I would not want to go through 2 rounds. I would not want to go through 2 rounds of that for anything. The people who make it through are people who accept their spirituality in its totality, to just embrace the entire experience. So you have to embrace, you know, the parts of it that make you uncomfortable, the parts that you're still not open to. You have to really transform. You have to be like a totally new person. It's almost like maybe you went through it and you got activated, but you weren't necessarily like a new person. You know, you have to go through that death and rebirth cycle. So there are so many people that have gone through their gang stalking journey, and they're not in their, they haven't had their death and rebirth cycle where they are coming out a totally new person. I remember when I used to watch like movies when I was younger, where it's like, I feel like it's like Native Indians that would have a culture of spiritual ascension, where one person would have to go off by themselves, face something very difficult, and then they would meet their spirit guides, they would get a new name, etc., etc. Like, that's kind of how I feel like that gang stalking experience is in modern day, where you have to go through it alone, completely alone. You have to walk that path, you have to meet God, you have to experience everything, and you just come out a new person. You come out a new personality, almost like a new, I mean, damn near a new name, definitely spiritually different, just everything different, whole new being. You have to heal from the experience as well. You have to take the lessons from it. You have to integrate the lessons. It is tough. Healing is like fighting yourself. It takes multiple rounds for certain things. It's not, oh my goodness, I can't even tell you. It is not easy. So, you know, anybody going through it, I applaud you. Like, I applaud my damn self. Listen, I've been a person who's been hard on myself my entire life. Even if I did something that is very impressive, I would not be the first person to be like, that's impressive, because I'm always seeing something else to improve. But in this situation, I can wholeheartedly say, like, I did all. I left nothing in the tank. I put it all on the carpet. I literally gave it my all. And I deserve whatever the hell I'm getting. Like, I'm telling you, this has been past, way past breaking point. Way past. And when I say breaking point, I don't mean giving a point. I mean like snapping. Way past that. Way past self-control. Way past holding it together, holding my tongue. It's way miles away, let me tell you. So far away that I don't judge anybody's reaction to this. Like, if I hear people and all they do is swear and they're frustrated, all like, I get it. I get it all. I get it all. I get it. I get it. He who feels it knows. I get it. So, you know, I see the things that people are going through. Even though people do not detail everything that is happening to them, I know there are people that are under severe spiritual persecution. I know that there are people who are being gang stalked for the first time. It is very frightening. It is going to be a very frightening experience. I don't know what their awakening was like, but the gang stalking experience is something unique. I know that there are people who, you know, when you give your story as one who's being gang stalked, it's very easy for people to say things like, you know, to not believe you or not take it seriously and things like that. But I feel like it's something you got to experience for yourself, and then you got to sit back and say, oh, this is what such and such was talking about. Oh, this is what those people online were talking about. Oh, this is what, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. I feel sorry that I didn't listen. I feel sorry that, you know, I contributed to hurting people who are going through this, because I feel like a lot of them took deals knowingly or unknowingly to give false guidance to people who are so vulnerable and really looking for help at the moment. So I feel like, you know, every like I say this all the time, it's not my saying, every dog has its day, and he who feels it knows. So it's like, once you get to that point, you know, where you see, damn, that person that was being gang stalked, I'm being gang stalked now, then yeah, you get it. And then on the flip side, you know, I think collectively, not just myself, where you know, gang stalkers are going the hell through it. They are. They're experiencing every single thing that they wanted for other people. I think the new batch of TIs are not all at all, not all, you know, not everyone at all, but myself especially, we are just like, we are not like, you know, the TIs that they had before. I think a bunch of people being gang stalked, their eyes are open, they're figuring things out, they're giving advice, they're speaking out. You know, it can definitely, it just can't just be me. Obviously, it must be other people as well. So hey, you know, people are experiencing what they put TIs through as a result of a mass awakening. Yeah, that energy is horrible. You know, for myself, I I am grateful for the assistance that I've had. I'm grateful for not just my prayers, but the prayers that have been placed over my life, you know, by those who've loved me prior to. And I am just grateful for the help that is available to me, the loyalty, the persistence, the dedication of my spirit team to remove energy from me, to send energy back where it came from. And boy, I'm telling you, that returned energy, I know it hits hard, because, you know, I think people are at the point now that sent out this energy that they don't even have money for food. So, you know, it's gotten to a very bad place. And it's like people are just gonna do whatever they can do, you know, and you just gotta look at it like, you know, it is what it is. Whatever little things that they can get away with, I'm almost like, hey, get it in. Get your little hits in. Feel great about yourself, because man, this is how it is when it hasn't even started. I think karma collectively is about to start. It has not started yet. I think it may possibly feel to people like karma has already started, like they're already under karma, but I know that they're not. They're not under karma yet. Karma has just started. This has just begun. And yeah, it's about to be a storm. It's really going to be a storm, you know, but it is what it is. Everybody has the same 24 hours. Everybody has the ability to make decisions, and it's not like people were not warned. So, you know, it is what it is. People who are TIs, I continue to say, I think it's very important to keep a level mind. It's, you know, I'm coming from a place where I have peace, and I'm coming from a place where I'm level-headed, but I've done that work. I've really cleansed my space. I've evolved. I've faced the hard parts of it that are not fun. You really have to, what's the word I want to look for? What's the word I want to say? I don't want to sound like I'm not in touch with what people are going through, because I went through it myself. But I'm not saying this in an insensitive way, but you can't so much look at it as persecution all the time. You can't so much look at it as, well, this is happening to me. You really have to try to look at it as, this is happening for me. You have to, because you have to get yourself to a place where you're not the same person. And to become not the same person, you have to go through experiences that are gonna try you. It's gonna try you. It's gonna test you. It's gonna push you past your boundaries. It's not even coming up to your boundaries. It's pushing way past that, way past that. You gotta experience things that are gonna piss you off, upset you, hurt you, challenge you, and you're getting all of that all at once. All at once. And I always say, in the meantime, excuse me, that you're also learning lessons. You're also of service. You're also of service to the universe, the Most High, excuse me, at the same time. And I think that's an honor, at least for myself. I think it's a huge honor to be of service to God at the same time, you know. And that is not, you know, I don't want to say it's not for free, but it definitely is not for free. There's many rewards for this occurring, putting you through this, holding on and holding in place. And after this, the life upgrades and the things that come to you are beautiful, are beautiful. I'm living proof of that. I've lived that once before, and I have no doubt in my mind that I will live that again. You know, I thank God for the experience. I say that half-heartedly because part of me is like, oh my goodness, I wish I never had to experience this. This was hell on earth. This was crazy. I'm not done. There are still energies that like I wish didn't exist. Like no one should have to experience that. I think these energies have difficulty experiencing themselves, to be honest with you. But here we are, and it's like, you know what, like I always say, somebody has to do it. So I guess it's me in this case, or it's you, that you're experiencing hell on earth, a nightmare. I think if you go about the experience the best that you can, challenging yourself constantly to learn from it, to let things go, to evolve, to grow, to not let things bother you, to just do your best, there's, you know, a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And I don't necessarily mean like financially. I don't know if everybody, I'm just saying as far as like life experience, as far as like getting to know yourself, as far as like, you know, getting to know the true nature of other people, and just like keeping like a positive outlook about the situation, and just like focusing on yourself. And that's not easy. It's not easy for me at all. I have my moments where I'm just like, oh my God, this is, please, please, you know, what on earth? But you know, when you, this page is called God's Way, and when you're doing things God's way, you don't always understand. I've just come to the point where I don't need to always understand. I don't need to always know. I don't even want to know anymore. I'm tired of knowing. Like, because it doesn't make sense. It just, it's the answers are not satisfying. Like, some of the answers used to be satisfying, like, oh, okay, that makes sense, that's why. But you know, it comes to a point where you're like, listen, I might as well not know. Just do your thing. And you know, you become detached from it. You have to a certain degree. You're like, listen, do your business, let me know what you need from me. I'm going to be here. Like, this is your fight. These are your people. These are your entities. These are your children. They're running loose here, and they're destroying people's lives. And just let me know what help you need from me. I don't want to know. I don't want to be like emotionally involved in this and like do the whole experience like this is personal. I have like a detached sort of like way of going about it, where it's just like it's a job, you know, like it's just, I I can't remain like, I think that's what happens when you understand the situation well enough. There are moments where obviously you're gonna get pissed off. Obviously you're gonna be like, this is a lot. But then I have to continue to just fall back into the whole thing of like, this is not my business. This is not my business. Like, you know, I think it started when, you know, when you see gang stalkers on the street and you're just like, no, it's always been like that with me, where I see people on the streets and I see how they behave and I'm like, what? Like, so it's still like that. It's worse. It's worse. It's like, not my business, not my circus, not my clowns, you know. I can see how people would go crazy for sure, hyper focusing on this kind of stuff, like hyper focusing on like who these people are and where they, and like all of these like, it's not your business, honestly. If you can find a way to just recognize that it's not your business, it will become a lot more tolerable. If you can find a way to just be comfortable that God has guided you into this situation and God will guide you back out safely, all you need to do is learn your lessons. All you need to do is follow instruction. You will be fine. And in learning all the lessons, I feel like that's what you need. You take those lessons and you move forward. As far as like I've come to the point with it where it's like, look, I'm going to defend myself to the degree that I need to, and then detach as much as humanly possible. And I've talked about this before, just kind of looking at it like maybe the scene is set in Japan in one person's life, and Australia in another person, and Russia in another person. Like, there are just things where it's like you can shake your head, you can see the attempts that are being made, and you just have to like follow through on doing whatever it is that you need to do to mitigate the problems and mitigate the damage, and then that's it. As far as like having like a good cry about, like, it's like, nah, you're stuck here for as long as God, you're here because of God, and you're gonna come out because of God. That's the reality that we have to accept. God put you here. It's not like you accidentally took a wrong turn and you got to get you out. Like, God literally put you here and is keeping you here as long as you need to be here. You're of service. That's how it works. And you're not of service because you know you're of service or it's conscious. It just seems to be what you're here for. I think there are maybe sometimes readers speak in such a way where it's like you're of service after you go through gang stalking or you ascend. No, you've been of service your whole damn life. If you are one of these people like myself, like this is not your first rodeo. You've been of service your whole life. This has been a cycle. It's like everywhere you go, you magnetize these kinds of people and these kind of experiences, and it's like it's almost like you came here to suffer, and you do get compensated for it. But what a job, right? What a life. So we cannot continue on the entire time crying about it, and like it's not gonna be a productive use of your energy. It is what it is. You can't get out of it. You can't get out of it. So you might as well just hang tight until, they release you from this. Hang tight until it's over. Do the work. Figure out how to heal yourself. Figure out how to cleanse your space. Figure out how to keep your wits about you. Keep your patience. Hold on to the parts of yourself that make you uniquely you, and just move forward with it. I'm not going to stay on too long tonight because it is late and I like my sleep. I have these cards that I usually pull that kind of give like some sort of quote. Tonight it says gallantry, grant me a single smile. It says, sweet William Small has form and aspect bright, like that sweet flower that yields great Jove delight. I don't know what this means. Let me read that again. Sweet William Small has form and aspect bright, like that sweet flower that yields great Jove delight. Whoever Abraham Cowley is, very pedantic, just saying things in a very complex way for whatever reason. Very Shakespearean. I don't know what this means. It kind of sounds like, I don't know. Let's pull another card because I'm not even gonna pretend like I want to process whatever that means at this hour. Let's see. Let's see. These cards are not even that important to do, so if I don't get one, that's fine. Yeah, I keep getting the same ones over and over. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with these cards tonight because I just came in to give a quick word of encouragement. So it's not that deep tonight. However, let me do a spirit oracle card. A spirit oracle card. Now, when I shuffle cards on live, I don't trust any cards 100% that I shuffle on live because there's always like manipulation with this kind of energy with shuffling cards. So like there's some cards I do not care for at all and I don't listen to them. So cards like rest and rejuvenation, it's time to hustle. I might read it, but I don't rest and rejuvenate for anything. Okay, so I got 3 and I'll read these ones. It says, you are so much closer to a powerful breakthrough than you may realize. You've been praying for things to heal, new opportunities to appear, relationships to improve, and these prayers will be answered soon. The second card says, where you are right now is where you are supposed to be. Don't compare yourself to others. That only adds pressure. Take each day as it comes and for what it is. You are a better person than you were yesterday. Growth isn't easy, but you've got this, and it is not easy. This is on some PhD for the 10th time less level of learning. This is on some next level. Okay, you have to be some type of grandmaster at life to have to go through this gang stalking thing, and you are not normal if you navigate this thing successfully. This is nowhere near easy. And the last card says, learn to ride the waves of life. When faced with difficult times, you can either fight against the current or go with it. So ask yourself, what is to be gained by depleting your energy and fighting against it? Don't do that to yourself. And this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, you don't even know these people and they're acting like this. This is clearly not about you. They just need you to stand in place. Getting too deep into it and intellect, like, I don't want to do that. Not at this point, not at this time. I have personal matters. I want to kind of just walk through it, handle my personal business, you know, learn whatever lessons are being thrust upon me, because it is being thrust, okay? Because we did not ask for this. And moving forward, honestly, like, how much can one person do, right? Like, you try your best, and it's about the people here who are doing the gang stalking. This is between them and God. It's really not about you. I'm gonna read, spirit card, the crystal of the day is Shungite, and this is a crystal for blocking geopathic stress. And this is what it looks like. It's like black with like beautiful inflections. It looks gold. Anyway, it's a cure-all. I think I read this one before, but anyways, it's like, I'll read the same cards multiple lives. A profoundly earthing stone, Shungite protects your physical body, the aura, against harmful fields such as EMF, which is electric and magnetic field, smog, and geopathic stress, which is negative energy carried by the earth, generated by water, electromagnetic stress, and other disturbances. Research has shown that Shungite absorbs that which is hazardous to health, whether it be pesticides, free radicals, bacteria and viruses, or microwaves and other vibrational emissions. Anecdotal evidence and scientific research suggests that Shungite strengthens the immune system and assists cellular metabolism. It enhances enzyme production and provides pain relief. A natural detoxifier and anti-inflammatory, Shungite has long been used to encourage wound healing. On the mind, it restores emotional equilibrium and provides reassurance. And in the spirit, it assists out-of-body journeying and promotes tranquility. And I feel like Shungite was recommended to me for some form of protection as well. It is a black stone, so black stones usually are protection. I often find too, when it comes to crystals, like, there'll be multiple explanations of what crystals do, but some crystals will protect from like dark energy work and stuff like that, and then some crystals, it's literally, it'll protect from like it said, like EMF and stuff like that. But yeah, but anyway, I just want to give advice to just hang in there. I know it's frustrating. I know it is something that will anger you. I know a lot of the times it will be confusing. You're desperate and you want to know when it will end. it will end at the right time. And I want to be realistic with people that these things, they take a while to resolve. These are not like easy issues. And, you know, there are a lot of gang stalkers and trolls that take content from actual targeted individuals or people actually giving messages, and they like to claim that they're chosen one. But you know what, those of us going through it would gladly give it to them, since they are so desperately wanting to claim it. It's like, this is not what you want. Like, I am loyal to God and will be of service, but nobody really wants to be in situations absorbing abuse, you know, in order to bring people to justice. Like, it's just not what you, it's not what you want for your life. Like, you'd like to have a peaceful life or a lifetime off of this kind of craziness. Like, give me a vacation life where things just go good and I just get to have a human experience without, you know, being on call, if you will. But it is what it is. There are energies that are running around. They're running amok here. They're causing a problem. They cause a lot of problems with people in people's lives. And it does take people who are the energetic opposite, you know, to come in and like make sure that things are in balance. So it's been explained so many different ways. God has tried to explain it, because otherwise you just think you're being tortured, really. And it's so nuts, because like me personally, I'm at a point with it where I can handle so much of it. I can handle all the big parts of it. I think for me, it's like the existence of this energy and just having to experience it, or having had experienced it, and just not being satisfied with the pace that it's moving, because I cannot believe evil like this exists. It's one thing to see in the media that people are pedophiles, but like to actually know a pedophile, a real life pedophile, is very, very, very disturbing. It's very disturbing to know that there are people who behave a certain way or who do certain things. It's one thing, like, you know, the world is not perfect, but when you experience like who actually does, it's so revolting. It's such a horrific experience to like experience that, to know that that is real, even though it's not even something that's happening to you or anyone you know. It's just the fact that it's real. This is happening. People are going through this. That's the part that is very difficult sometimes to like come to terms with, and to just know like this is real. And you know, I try not to question God as far as like what on earth is going on here, but I know God wants to do things in a particular way, and you know, in his and her own time. But it's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe, like, I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. There's a lot of like provocation and stuff that I've just come to the point, I'm like, oh, this is happening. That's fine. Like, there are a lot of things that, listen, it's so bad. I've been in gang stalking so long that the gang stalking does not affect me. Oh my God, I'm like immune to it at this point. There is no panic, there's no anxiety, there's no blood rush, there's no, it's just like, oh my God, they exist. Like, you know, that's really all it comes. It's just like, oh, okay. I think they know that too. If they don't know it, I don't know what to say. But I think they know that too. Like, it's just, you know, you did it long enough, right? Like, there's no fighting against it. There's no like all of this other stuff. Like, I try to avoid it wherever I can, but if I can't avoid it, like, you know, it is what it is. That's really bad. Like, when it gets to that point, it's just like, just waiting for people to not exist anymore. That's just how I feel. I just sit here every day and I'm like, well, if today has gone by then that's another day closer, and I know it's coming, and that's just like what I cling to. Just so draining and exhausting of knowing something exists. I feel like that's really the saddest part. It's like someone waiting for you to just not exist anymore is crazy. It's just like you couldn't even imagine. That's where I am with it. So do your best. Do your best. Honestly, I send prayers out, and I send prayers out especially to the people out there who held on to till their last moment. They did what they were supposed to, as far as never giving in, never taking bribes, never being weak, never never giving up on their posts, suffering and taking the fall when the fall was scheduled. Sometimes we feel like taking a fall is like some sort of mistake, or but it's on schedule, it's gone on God's time. I've learned not to question God. My heart has been broken by some of the things that I've seen, but I know that God is in control, and God's way is the best way. God's way is my way, you know. I just want to mention Katroya J, who is a tarot reader who has lost her kids. She got her home, her door kind of like bulldozed in, and was probably forcibly taken away by the police. And so she's gone through a level of persecution that's been crazy. She has been strong to the very last second, and she's probably going through a lot. So I send my prayers and love towards her. She is an example of who we all should be, which is somebody who stands in the fight. And I don't want to, it's not my place to judge anybody that gave in, but you are suffering the consequences of giving in and not standing your ground and not doing the things that you're supposed to, and agreeing to give faulty messages when you know it's not true, and leading people astray and all kinds of things. And I'm not judging that, because I'm not saying it was easy, and I know this is also the path that they have to go, but I definitely have to salute someone who is suffering in a way that we can only imagine. I can only imagine. So, you know, I know she might not ever see this message, but my heart is with her, and she did the right thing, and she never led anybody astray, and she always had, you know, she was brave, and she's going through it. Her story's not done, and if I know anything about God, you know, her rewards are not going to be in heaven for sure. She's going to be everything that she can ever hope for and more. I have confidence. I have faith in that. I have evidence that that's how God operates. And yeah, so I just want to talk about Katroya J, and I might talk about her all the time or from time to time, because my heart is broken for her. So, you know, it is what it is. And everybody that you know, there's a ton of readers that have taken some dark deals, and they caved without any fight whatsoever. Not a single fight did they put up. Not 2 months, not 6 months, not a year. Like they got knocked down immediately, started giving faulty readings, started, you know, cannot be depended upon. It's very hard for me to like, it's more difficult for me to be sympathetic, although I know that it is their walk, and maybe it's things that they have to learn, but it's like, I don't know, people are depending on you, you got to do better. So, You know, they are not the only readers that are spiritually attacked night and day, that go through this night and day, that walk this path for God. They're not the only ones. We all suffer, but giving up without a morsel of a fight is embarrassing. It's useless. Makes you useless, really. You know, that's just my take on it. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So anyway, thank you. Have a good night. And remember, God loves you. Good night.